Hey everybody, Guildmaster Dan here. I so obviously this is not a normal episode, but again, I don't like leaving you guys hanging. So I'm shooting you a vlog real quick. Um, uh, obviously last week we didn't have an episode because we had a Roleplayathon, which went great. By the way, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But this week, since Roleplayathon, I've just I've been really busy. I mean, I work retail as a day job, and so I have to deal with being open on Thanksgiving and Black Friday and actual Thanksgiving plans. And on top of that, there was also the Doctor Who 50th, which was in theaters and did go to see that. Awesome, by the way. Um, I've been really busy this week, and I am continuing to work all weekend. So this is about the time that I've been able to free up to shoot something for you guys. So I apologize again for going 2 weeks in a row without an episode. I'll make it up to you guys next week. Um, I have some good ideas for some new episodes. Things I've been pondering about, which, as a quick aside, again, if you guys have anything that you'd like me to talk about or any subjects that you need advice on or you're curious about or would like to hear my opinion, please let me know. Please, I understand that the YouTube comments is screwed right now, but let me know some way. I got my Twitter account. Feel free to post it on there. Um, Guildmaster Dan. That's literally it on Twitter. So you can shoot me up on Twitter with your ideas, and I'd be happy. Like I've had episodes in the past which were inspired by players and asking about, or not players, followers asking subscribers. Yes, subscribers on YouTube. Anyway, I have done episodes based off of suggestions from people. I haven't done all of them, but I have done episodes based. But so please, send me your ideas. Um, Otherwise, I'm liable to run out in the relatively near future. I mean, I have lots of ideas, but even I know that there's only so many like archetype topics I can talk about. I mean, if you have questions about stuff, maybe I can bring in new segments if it doesn't fit traditionally into the fourth wall or just a brick. Anyway, send me your ideas. I might talk about them, but I do have some ideas coming up. um, I'm sorry, I'm brain farting. I have to go to work here in a little bit. um, okay, so I'm also going to get the new Let's Plays out, the ones with the new game that I was going to try. We'll see. I'll post that up, but I'm not done with Final Fantasy. I am caught up to the point where we can start exploring the Light Warriors adventure some more. In fact, there's some updates, uh, some updates to their legend that I need to tell you guys. That occurred during the grinding fest. That should be fun when we get back to that too. So if you're looking for more Let's Plays, I should have a proper episode next week. And that's pretty much it for sure. Oh, I'm still having talks with some friends about getting their videos on the channel, so there's more stuff for you guys to enjoy. Um, so again, be looking for that. I know a lot of people out there are posting, they post their Skype campaigns, and I'm talking to someone about getting their long running Skype campaign online too, so you guys can enjoy that. My hopes for the Guildmaster Dan channel is that there will be a little bit of something for everybody, that you guys can come every week, and you may disagree with everything I have to say on the fourth wall, but you may like Let's Plays, or you may like watching the adventures of the 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 Skype the Skyping group, or I'm looking to expand the channel so that there's a grab bag of different things for you guys to enjoy, so that you might not come for everything, but you come for at least one of the things. But yeah, so about the Roleplayathon, it went great. My team, we were running. Dungeons Dragons 3.5. We ran for 20 hours, even though towards the end there, um, I was really kind of fast forwarding through um, fast forwarding through the adventure. It just I was so tired and it was so late by that point that I still had them do like skill checks for what they wanted to do, but I did a lot of summarizing of events of what happened, and and we went from like 6 people to like 8 down to 3 by the very end, with two of my original players and one person that jumped in towards the later half of the night, um, and they successfully finished it in the worst possible way that I wasn't even aware that was there. Um, All right, so here I'll give you a real quick gist so you can understand. All right, so 500 years ago on this island, it was a jungle paradise because there was a water crystal um, that essentially made it so lush and green. But there was a primordial spirit which was bound to it, that they constantly had to deal with. So some adventurers came in and to try and defeat it. Everybody knew about them because they were like from an official adventurers guild and whatnot, and they came with a spell jammer. So they were, the island knew that they were there, and they couldn't defeat the primordial spirits, but they could do the next. They did the next best thing and shattered the water crystal, breaking its binding. So the primordial spirit left, but because they shattered the water crystal, this lush paradise, fell into a waste, a blasted wasteland, a desert. Many people died from lack of water sources because, I mean, even the capital city that was based around the water crystal had no other source of water except from the water crystal. So hundreds of thousands, or just thousands and thousands of people died there. Not to mention all the oppression that came after that as people fought over what clean water was left. Essentially, they got rid they they got rid of the dragon, but they really hurt this island. So they take a shard of the crystal, which still has like the qualities of the full crystal, and they find themselves an island with a little dying village on this island, nice and secluded, and they give them the water crystal, which gives them an oasis. It was another little desert island, and they're able to prosper because of it. And the adventurers decide to live there and protect the village, kind of as penance, to protect that shard. And they seal themselves inside of a magic item that each of them carries, so that should the time come, their descendants can. Well, they obviously made sure that they had mates first, but their descendants could then reawaken their memories and powers. So, 500 years later, their descendants from the village bear witness to a cult come in and forcibly take the crystal, and they're charged, and that leaves the village there without any clean water. This is a desert island with no sources of drinking water. So they are charged to reawaken their ancestors, to go out, to go across the desert that's still on the island, find their ship and go seek, or find the spelljammer and go seek help. Whether that's get the water crystal back or just bring back water. However, go get help. So they do this, and they go on their adventure. They come back to the big island that their ancestors ruined. The whole while they're dealing with conflicting memories because both sets of memories are alive in there. So essentially, the bodies have both personalities in them. On top of that, when they use the magic item, they physically change into their ancestor's body. When they take it off, they go back to their villager self. So there's a whole duality thing that they're playing with the entire time, and there were some really interesting role playings that came out of that. But essentially, they get to the end to where this cult is reenacting, is trying to refuse the water crystal at the exact same time that they're resummoning that primordial spirit to rebind it to the island. There's some other stuff behind why, but that's their big evil plan. And they show up at the ceremony. There's all bedlam breaking loose in this oasis capital city, and there's war going on. It's all real exciting. And they get there, and the ritual is being carried out, and they get on the Spelljammer, and they were told earlier. All right, I guess I missed a step. Something that happened earlier was that there's a spirit bound to the Spelljammer that controls it, and she's able to repair and operate the ship, blah blah blah. And one of the first things I did in interacting with her was, her power source for what bound her to the ship, a crystal, was burnt out after 500 years, and she needed them to acquire a new one that fortunately the sandworms grew on this island. Essentially, adult sandworms on this island grew it inside them, and to the right people, it could be utilized for magical means. And, they go and they kill a purple worm, and they find a dead one, and they get 2 of these crystals. One for Nimue, the spirit, and the other one just as an extra. And Nimue says, oh, you know what? Give me that too. I'll, if we need it, I know a way that we could use up this crystal all in one go and, do a single powerful magical attack. That was kind of a reward for them thinking ahead, So they did that. They had the 2 crystals. So back to the cult, right? Keep in mind, this is 19 and a half hours in. They find the cult, doing the ritual. They know that the ritual is almost done because essentially the cult caused a war to happen, and every time blood spills on the ground, that blood is fueling the ritual that's going to resummon the primordial spirit. All right, so here's their plan. They see the crystal being reforged, and they see all the blood coming into this city's oasis that's resummoning the primordial spirit. They get on the Spelljammer, and they tell Nimue, all right, we want you to use up that magical attack and shoot the water crystal. Keep in mind, they're chasing here to get this water crystal shard to take it back so that their village doesn't die. But Nimue gives them a little warning, okay, you want me to shoot the crystal again? Meaning, that's how they shattered it in the first place. That was their hint. Their hint that, hey, you remember that first time you had me do this and you fucked up? You want me to do this again? I even repeated it. But nope. Shoot the water crystal. Which she does. She fires on the water crystal. Obliterating. Not even shards left. The thing is vaporized this time. It was shattered before. This time it's just utterly destroyed beyond repair. And since the cultists were doing this at the same time, doing these rituals at the same time, the primordial spirit is resummoned. It returns. It is not happy. It starts wrecking the adventurers. Essentially, it appears as a little elven girl, and starts wrecking the adventurers. The adventurers, they deal enough damage to that form that it transforms into its proper lung dragon form, and it promptly goes Godzilla on the city and is just wrecking everything because it just hates this place, and people are trying to imprison it again. So they're flying around in the air on the Spelljammer, and it's looking like all doom now. And Nimue is like, I can fire one more time, but it'll be the last time. Because she still has the shard that's keeping her bound to the ship and allowing her to control it. Or not the shard, the crystal that's binding her to the ship and allowing her to control it. So they decide, go ahead, fire on it. So they do. Nimue fires, burns up her crystal and fires on the dragon, which does injure the spirit enough that, it leaves the island. But that leaves them in the air with no bound spirit to the Spelljammer any longer. None of them know how to pilot a Spelljammer. So it plummets to the earth, killing them all. So to be clear, their village is doomed because there's no help coming, and and no water crystal shard to take back. Um, this island this island is in the midst of a civil war now, and on top of that, a lot of the capital city where the oasis was completely wrecked. Actually, in all likelihood, the oasis is probably ruined because of all the blood and all of the debris from the battle. Um, so, except for the people that except for the other people that can still barter with foreign water merchants, yeah, they're pretty much doomed. And everybody died in the ship crash. Um, and on top of that, I suppose there is a fourth level of failure too, in that the Spelljammer was like a relic of their adventure guild, which they learned was still around. Um, and that spirit that was bound to the ship was one of the founders of the guild that chose to bind herself to the ship so that she could guide future generations. So she gave up to she gave up her bite she gave up that goal to protect the island. Um, and yeah, it's just all around failure. But admittedly, 19 and a half, 20 hours in, we're all very tired. We're down to 3 people. And yeah, so maybe not everybody was in the right set of mind. But it was a very good time. We broke many personal records. My team, sorry, I don't mean to keep hitting the table here. My team, we did the 20 hours. In the past, 19 hours was the longest we'd ever done. Um, altogether we raised $886 for charity water, which great. That's not that's not the goal that I had set for the campaign, but that's still more money than we have ever raised for a cause so far. We've had the most number of people attending this year. We've had the largest prize bundles we've ever had. Um, let's see here. The teams that did 50-50 drawings, those were the highest I've ever seen. There were more 50-50 drawings than I've ever seen. Just a lot of personal records were broken, and it was a blast. There was a lot of fun. I look forward to next year, and I want to thank everybody who showed us so much support. All the sponsors. Um, you know, I can't go through all of them because we have a whole bunch, but all of the sponsors, thank you very much. You really helped us build the momentum for this year and going on into next year. This was the biggest and best Roleplayathon yet, and I'm looking forward to next year and topping even that. Also, I want to say thank you to, and I apologize if I miss. Actually, here, hold on. I want to get this right. So let me just go ahead and look up the name because it's a thank you, so I want to make sure I have the name right. Let's see. Sorry, I'm visiting. All right, let's see. Okay, and thank you very much, Tetsubo57. I really appreciate you showing support and telling your subscribers to tune in and watch us. Thanks, man. You're a genius. I love your stuff. Thank you very much for showing your support. And for speaking of the live cast, for those of you who tuned in, thank you. Thank you for coming in and watching us. We had some funny conversations with you guys as we were playing. We we determined that like, for example, at one point we determined that Jesus was a lich, and that Santa Claus was a wood elf. So anyway, so yeah, some fun conversations were had. I understand that the audio wasn't the best. I apologize. I used the same audio that I use for my normal videos, and admittedly, in a larger room with a larger group of people, it makes it a little bit hard to hear everybody. I did my best. I separated us from the rest of the groups that were going because I didn't want too much noise to be picked up from their tables. But hopefully those of you who tune in and watch were able to see enough that you were entertained. I know we had some entertaining players on the team. We always do. They get into some shenanigans. And but yeah, thank you for tuning in. For those of you who donated, thank you very much. I can't describe how much, I appreciate your efforts. All the teams, thank you. Um, what we did was a good thing. We're helping Charity Water help, people who really need it. And you know, every year we've done a different cause, and this is the first time I've seen a cause that I'm considering like officially picking up as like our as the event's cause. I'm sorry, I'm shaking the table again, but it's such a good cause. I love the program, and on top of that, uh, I'm hoping that by next year, they've actually essentially one cool thing about Charity Water is that they'll send you pictures and like videos of stuff of the people you directly helped, and that's very very cool. And I'm hoping that by next year, those videos and pictures will be out that I can share those with next year's participants. I like in the first 2 years, I got messages from the cause, like from the people that we were helping that I could share to everybody like during orientation. This year, since we were working with the program, I wasn't able to do that. But next year, I'm hoping that I'm able to share those like videos and pictures and stuff with everybody, so they can see that they're not just playing games; they really are helping people by participating in this event. And yeah, I'm not sure what else to talk about. Thank you, everybody who had anything to do with the roleplayathon. Thank you very much. I love you guys. You really you helped us do a good thing, and I really appreciate it. And I hope that in years to come, you'll show us the same support and help us continue doing good things. To those of you who didn't get to participate or help this year, look to next year. Plan ahead. I start announcing all the stuff in regards to it early. If you want to help, let me know. We'll plan for next year. I'm hoping to make it even bigger and even better than it was this year. That's really all I've got. That's really all I've got. I could talk about Doctor Who if you want, but that's not what this that's not really what this is about. But so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. I'll say I liked the Doctor Who 50th. I've heard people's complaints about it, but I enjoyed it. I especially loved that. I know I'm going on the tangent. I especially loved that ending shot with all the doctors. That was very cool. But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. Thanks for listening to me prattle this week, guys. I'm sorry that I only had a vlog for you. Like I said, next week I'm gonna try and get you more Let's Plays and some more and an actual episode for you. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't yet. Send me your ideas for topics you want me to talk about. And thank you, everybody that helped with Roleplayathon. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Okay, bye, guys. I'm sorry. I never know how to end these things. So, Auf Wiedersehen.